All right, guys, let's get this show on the road. My name is Rafiq Wayani. I represent ITExpertWebinars.com. I'm going to be telling you about Active Directory administration utilizing PowerShell. I have a virtual machine that I have constructed. The virtual machine is a Windows Server 2012 machine that I have put inside of Oracle VirtualBox. I'm not really sure if you're familiar with Oracle VirtualBox, but it's really not that big of a deal. It is nothing more than a virtual machine platform, if you will. So let me bring up, here's my Oracle VirtualBox. And in this VirtualBox, I want to show you what I've got. Here's my Active Directory, users and computers, that is listed here on the bottom. On top, I have Active Directory PowerShell module installed. Inside of Server 2008 R2 and inside of 2008 R2 and later, the PowerShell module is available for Active Directory right within the administration group, the administrators group. If you start up normal PowerShell, like this one right here, that I clicked on the bottom, I don't have the PowerShell module installed over here. And I would have to do import module, and I have to specify that I want the Active Directory module installed, like so. When you open up the Administrator Active Directory PowerShell module from the administrators group inside of Server 2012, or in your remote server administration tools, RSAT, on Windows 7 or later machines, you'll be able to get this. The way you know that you have the Active Directory components installed so that you can work with PowerShell utilizing Active Directory is by doing this. If you type PS Drive, and when you get that listing in PS Drive, you see this AD right here, Active Directory, and you see root DSE, and you see Active Directory underneath the provider. When you see this, that's how you know that you are attached, connected to AD natively. Now, for those of you that haven't played with Active Directory, well, not Active Directory, but I'm sure all of you have played with that. But for those of you that have not played with PowerShell with an Active Directory, I want to show you some things that are going to seem like magic. When you do PS Drive and you get this listing, anything that you put a colon after what is listed in name, so AD colon will take you to Active Directory. C colon will take you to the C drive. Function colon will take you to the functions. HKLM colon will take you to the registry. Yes, the registry. I'm not here to talk about the registry. I am here to talk about Active Directory. So let me show you what I do. I'm going to do CD space AD colon enter. I am tapped in right here inside of my AD structure. When I do a DIR, here's my domain right there. There's my domain. If I do CD open quotes DC class DC edu and press enter, and I do a DIR, take a look. I am changing directory into Active Directory the way I would if I was, navigating my folders in, on the command prompt. Here I've got the org unit called sample, as you can see right here. I have the user's container, as you see right here, right there. Oops, right there. And I can simply do this. I can say CD cn users DC class DC edu, like so. Oops. CN users dir CD CN users. There you go. And there's my, all I did is CD into the users folder, and I'm able to see everything that's in the users folder, all these entries right here. Yeah. There's the administrator user account, as you can see. Well, this is all nice and wonderful, a very simple navigation of doing CD and such. But how about if I want to create users? Well, let me show you how that can be done quite simply as well. There are a few things you can do, or many ways actually, you can create users in Active Directory. I can, first of all, I can say new AD user, like that, and I can specify my name, Rafiq. And I just created a user called Rafiq in the users container. How do I know? Let me refresh the users container on the bottom. And there's Rafiq, the user, that I just created. However, if you notice, Rafiq, the user, is not enabled. See that little itty-bitty arrow? Let me maximize this thing. See that little itty-bitty arrow? I don't know if you can tell or not. But Rafiq is not enabled because, I don't have a password assigned to Rafiq user account, and since I don't have a complex password assigned, the user account is not enabled. I can just as easily do remove AD user Rafiq, and it says, are you sure you want to do it? I just say yes, and I do go to the users container and do a refresh, and there is no more Rafiq the user, as you can see right here. If I want to enable, if I want to create a user and enable it, I can do new AD user, and I can put in my name, and then I can do account password. Now, account passwords have to be secure strings. They cannot be plain old text. So there is what's called a commandlet called convert to secure string, and I can specify the password that I want to assign. And I can say that this is going to be plain text, and I want to force plain text, this particular plain text, my plain text, to be secure. And what this is going to do is it's not going to store it as plain text. It's going to convert it to a secure string that Active Directory will accept. And then I'm going to do enabled, and I'm going to say true. This true right here is a reserved word or reserved command inside of PowerShell. It simply means true, yes or no, true or false. Enable that. I'm going to press enter. So now I should have a Rafiq user account that is enabled. So let me take a look. I'm going to go to users, do a refresh. Here's Rafiq. Notice this time it is enabled. I don't have that down arrow, if you will. Let me remove it again, except this time I'm going to show you something. I can do confirm false. This is kind of interesting and sort of backwards. This is saying remove Active Directory user Rafiq, and for the confirmation, I don't want you to confirm. Basically, don't ask me if you should remove it. Just go ahead and do it. Confirm : false means I do not want to receive a confirmation. And I press enter. I don't get a confirmation. I go to users. I do a refresh, and there is no more Rafiq user listed here, as you can see. So that is creating and removing the Rafiq user. There's something else that is much more interesting here. I don't want to enter one user at a time. Who does? I want to enter and manipulate, many users at the same time. So for that reason, I'm going to do a cd c:/, go to my scripts folder, and in my scripts folder, I'm going to create a file called user.csv. User.csv. And in this file that is blank right now, I'm going to create a couple of columns, if you will, and I'm going to make this font bigger so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to do SAM name. I'm going to do path. And I'm going to do tcruise. Path is going to be OU sample DC class DC edu. A Mendez, OU equals actors, DC class, DC edu. J Kim, OU, I'm going to do CN equals users, DC equals class, DC equals edu. K Patrick, OU equals execs, DC class, DC edu. Okay. I don't have a organization unit called actors right now, and I don't have an organization unit called execs right now. I'm going to create it. What I want to happen is I want T Cruz to be in the sample OU. I want E Mendez to be in the actors OU. I want J Kim to be in the users OU. I want K Patrick to be in the execs OU. Okay? So what I need to do is I need to create these org units, actors and execs. I have sample and users. So I'm going to go to PowerShell, and I'm going to do new AD organizational, like that. And I'm going to say actors. I'm going to say OU equals actors, DC class, DC edu. Don't know how to type. And then I'm going to create one more OU that's going to be execs. When I go to Active Directory users and computers and I do a refresh, there's my execs OU and there's my actors OU. Now what's kind of interesting here? You notice that it's looking like I created that whole name. Let me delete this and say yes. And I got to change that classification. I got to change that classification. Go to View, Advanced Features, right-click, Properties, Attribute Editor, no, Managed by Object. There you go. Uncheck that. And I'm going to uncheck it out of the other one as well. Managed Object, uncheck that. And let me remove these two units. And I want to show you, right-click, trashy trash, org unit, call it actors, and org unit called execs. Go to class edu, do a refresh. There's the execs OU, there's the actors OU. Notice there's nobody in there. Let me reduce this features here. There's nobody in the actors OU, nobody in the execs OU, nobody in the sample OU. My file right now indicates, after this is processed, T Cruz will be in sample, E Mendez will be in actors, J Kim will be in users, and K Patrick will be in execs. Let me go back to PowerShell. And I got to bring this file in first. Let's see how I do that. This is a CSV file. Now CSV files, most of you or many of you may realize that they are native to Excel. Well, PowerShell can read these files natively as well. So I'm going to do user list equals import CSV, user CSV. That's it. It read it in. Look at this. It read it in. So now user list, the variable, contains the contents of the user CSV file. There it is up there. And it separated Sam and Pat. Sam is short for Sam account, right? The security account manager. So Sam lists my users. The path states where the users are going to go. Okay. By the way, I want to clarify one other thing too. DC in this case equals domain component, not domain controller. Domain component. And domain component always has at least two components or two pieces of the puzzle, a prefix and a suffix. So this is domain component. This is also domain component. Domain component prefix being class and domain component suffix being edu. You will always have at least two domain components. You may have many more, like sales.class.edu, northamerica.class.edu, and so on. So here's what I'm going to do. Now that I've got this user list, I need to create a loop inside of PowerShell that will read in this user list and populate Active Directory with it in the right place. So I'm going to do a for each loop, and I'm going to do for each person inside of the user list. I'm going to make this user. User inside of user list. And I'm going to do new AD user, and I'm going to say name is going to equal user Sam. That's whatever, and by the way, the for each is going to traverse through this list. It's first going to look at T. Cruz, then E. Mendez, then J. Kim, then K. Patrick, at which point it will stop. Whenever I say Sam, I'm pointing at the user. And whenever I say path, I'm pointing at this, where I want the user to be stored. Let's get back to PowerShell. And I'm going to say user principal name is also user Sam. Okay, user principal name and username is going to be the same in this particular instance. Account password, again, is going to be convert to secure string, and I'm going to say this password, and I'm going to say as plain text, just like I did before, and this is going to be a force, and then I'm going to say enabled is going to be true. So I've got the SAM, I've got the principal name, the account password. What I don't have is the path where the user will be stored. So the path will be user.path, just like that. Okay, that's this right there. So the user should go in the right place. I hope this works. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter, close out of this, and it worked, I think. Let's go take a look. I'm going to go in Active Directory. I'm going to go to Actors, and I'm going to go to Class and do a refresh. Actors has E. Mendez. Take a look up here. E. Mendez should be in Actors. Execs should contain K. Patrick, and K. Patrick is execs. It's right there. It's in the exec OU. Sample contains T. Cruz. T. Cruz is in the sample OU. Right? And then in the users folder, I have J. Kim right there. And all of these accounts are enabled. Okay? All of these accounts are enabled, as you can see. So that's one way to add users. What else can we do here with PowerShell? Well, there's a lot of things you can do. Let me show you a few of them. Let's say that I want to change a user's password. Right now, J. Kim's password is what I assigned it, the capital P @ SSWORD. Well, let me see if I want to change it. I'm going to do this. I have to first read in, I'm going to say new pass. I need to read in a secure password. So I'm going to do read host, enter new password, like that. And I'm going to store this as AS secure string, and it says enter new password, and I'm going to put in the new password, press enter. Now when I type in new pass, I cannot tell what I typed. It just says that it's a secure string that was saved. It's not going to make out what I put in because I saved it as a secure string. If I didn't put this little parameter over here, the password would be in plain text. Watch. Take this out, and I can just pretty much read the password. Okay, so that's the difference that this AS secure string makes. It secures the password so you can't read it. Okay, let's go back, enter, put in the password, like so. And then if I want to change the password on an account, I can say set AD account password, like that, and I can specify the username, and then I can say the new password, and I can pass in my password, and there you go. The password has now been changed to the new password. But how do I make it if I go to the account properties and I go to account? You see this user must change password at next logon? Once I change the password to something default, which is what I just did. I want the user to change the password the next time they log on. So I want this to be checked. It is not checked, and I don't want to do it manually. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say set AD user jkim change password at logon property. I want to set that to be true. Go back to jkim, go to properties, go to account, and there it is. The next time jkim logs in, he's going to be able to, or she's going to be able to type in the password once they get past my temporary password. Right? So that's the way to get that done. What else can we do? Well, how about disabling the user account? Very easy to do. I can do disable AD account jkim. Enter. I just disabled that account. If I do a refresh on users and I go down, notice that little itty bitty arrow. If I right click, go to properties, go to account, you can notice that the account is disabled. You see that? And that's the way to manipulate that property. Just as easily, I can enable the account. Like that, jkim. Go back to the users, refresh. And I will be able to see jkim is enabled again. So that's a way to enable and disable an AD account. Also, something else that you can do, okay, if I go to my actors OU, I'm going to go over to properties, and I'm going to go over to, let's say, I'm going to go over to specify member of. Now, right now, this is a member of the domain users group. Yeah, the domain users group. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new group. Okay, I'm going to create a brand new group, and I'm going to create it inside of actors. I'm going to say new group, and I'm going to call the group my actors. And there's my actors group. Now, right now, there's nobody in the actors group. So here's what I want to do in PowerShell. I want to figure out the groups that I have that nobody belongs to. Okay? Groups that I have that nobody belongs to. Let's take a look. I'm going to do get AD group. Filter all the groups where the list, where the current user list, when I get the user group, get AD group member, like so, AD group member. And what this is doing is it's running kind of a script within a script. This is the beauty of PowerShell. It lets you do a lot of things at the same time. So I'm listing all the groups that don't have anybody in it, and one of them is actors. Okay. These are all of the groups that nobody belongs to, okay, and one of those groups is actors. Now in PowerShell, as I list these things, I can just as easily export this out. I can say out file empty groups txt, and it will write that file out. And then I can do notepad empty groups txt, and here's a list, a file that contains all of the empty groups. Kind of slick, kind of interesting. Right there. I can also do something interesting. I can just as easily add AD group member, and I can say that the group is actors, and I want to add a member, E. Mendez. Now, when I refresh this and I open up actors, go to members, there is E. Mendez in here. So that's how I add members to the group, to a group. I can also get a listing of all of the members in a particular group. Let's take a look. I can do get AD group member actors. There you go. And I said, give me everybody that's in the actors group, and it says, all right, here's everything. E. Mendez is the only one that's in there, and that's the name. I could have just as easily said, select name. I don't want all the other stuff. Here's a name property. I only want you to list me the names. Okay. So that is how I get a name of a group and how I put people in a group, in an OU. Let me show you something else. This I'm going to do new AD organizational unit, and I'm going to call this one test. And I'm going to do go to class EDU, do a refresh. There's a test OU. Now, right now, you can see that there's nobody in there. Let's say that I want to trash this group. Well, there is a way to say remove AD organizational unit, test. But there's a problem with this. Watch the error that comes up. It says, hey, it can't find the object called test. Well, okay. So it's trying to ask me to specify exactly where it is. I'm going to say OU equals test, DC class, DC EDU. Says, okay, now it says access is denied. Wait a minute, why is access denied? I have opened this as an administrator. Why is permission denied? Well, the reason for this is because this particular group, like every other group, as I showed you, I'm going to go to View, Advanced Features, and I'm going to go over to Tests. I'm going to right-click, go to Properties, go over to Object. You see this Protect Object from Accidental Deletion? That is what is preventing me from deleting this group programmatically. Well, in a single swoop. So here's what I got to do. I basically have to remove that protection. How do I do that? I'm going to do get AD object, and I'm going to do LDAP filter, like so, and I'm going to say object class equals organizational unit, and then I'm going to say my search base is going to be OU equals test, DC equals class, DC equals EDU, and I want to set AD object protected from accidental deletion. I want to set that to false. It just happened. I'm going to go to class EDU, do a refresh, right-click on test, go to properties, go over to object, and there it is, removed. That checkbox is removed. I'm going to close this, go back up here, go up a couple of things, go up a couple of commands where I'm removing this organizational unit, right? And there it is. Now it's gone. If I'm going to go to class EDU and do a refresh, there's no more test OU, as you can see. Right? Really kind of slick and very, very powerful. So we covered adding users, removing users, changing user properties, adding a whole bunch of users utilizing a script, adding people to groups, adding organizational units. The container, and as far as the PowerShell goes, you can do many amazing things with AD in PowerShell. If I type get command AD, it will list me all of the commands that's got the word AD in it, but look at this. Here, for example, is ADDS domain controller testing. Here is a whole bunch of set commands. See it? Set AD right there. Complete set, remove a whole bunch of activity. So there's a whole host. There's new, whole host of AD commands that you can use to implement inside of your scripting environment. I would strongly advise you that you learn PowerShell first and that you learn PowerShell well so that you have a little better understanding of what's going on within a script so that you don't actually end up making silly mistakes that cost you a lot of time and energy. It is very easy, as I showed you, to remove OUs, to add OUs in the production environment. This can be detrimental, you know. So here I've got the actors OU with a group and a user. So let's do this for a second. Let me go to this here, and I'm going to now look at actors instead of test, actors. I just removed this protection right here from the actors OU. Right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to try to remove the actors OU. And now it says, hey, you can't do it because I've got child objects inside of there. And that's talking about these objects. Right? I can, in a single command, recurse and trash all of the objects inside of an organizational unit and remove the org unit as well in a single command. I'm showing you this because I want to let you know that the power within AD, within PowerShell, for Active Directory administration is immense. However much damage you thought you could cause in the graphical interface, you can do 1,000 times more damage substantially quicker inside of PowerShell. So you want to be careful.